All right, let's do this.
I'm just doing this for fun.
All right, we're good. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the closed session for the Hermosa Beach City School District School Board for today, Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. Calling the closed session to order. Dinah, will you take the roll, please?
Board Member Barrow,
Present.
Board Member Clue,
Present.
Board Member Bove LaMonica,
Present.
Vice President Clerk Cole,
Present.
President Gardner,
Present.
all present.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, we have oral communications from the audience to the board. I'm seeing nobody in the room. Do we have anybody in the Zoom?
No one online.
All right, then we're closing oral communications and we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the open session of the regular meeting of the Hermosa Beach City School District School Board for tonight, Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. There are two things to report from closed session. The first is related to the public employee discipline dismissal release. In closed session, the board took action to ratify the release from probationary employment of a paraeducator. The roll call vote was 5-0 with a motion by Quentin and a second by Kathy. The second is item P-15-2324. On the agenda is the approval of a proposed second amendment to the existing employment contract of the superintendent. The existing employment contract, as previously amended May 10th, 2023, has a term from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2026. The proposed amendment would amend the term of the contract to be July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2027, and would add an additional step 7 to the superintendent's salary schedule, providing for a 3.5% salary increase, excuse me, in 26-27, with no change to the superintendent's salary for the other years, such that the superintendent's salary for each of these years shall be as follows: 23-24, step 4, 214,431. 2024-2025, step 5, 221,936. 2025-2026, step 6, 229,704, and 2026-2027, step 7, 237,744. All other terms and conditions as stated in the existing employment contract, including provision for health and welfare benefits, would remain in effect without change. So with that,
and just as a point of order, that will be an action item at the end of our meeting.
it's the last action item for tonight is approving.
Just to clarify, that is an amendment to the board action item?
No,
'Cause
this
it's
is
already
just
listed.
right, but I have to read out the detail.
It's actually, that's not a closed session item, and so that readout, you mean like will serve when the board takes action for the action
okay.
item itself.
Okay,
So
got
a little early in the meeting, but that's okay. It's just
So
because you
there's
love
nothing
me.
being amended to the agenda right now.
There's
No,
no
there
amendment
was
to the
no
agenda.
amendment.
Yeah. So sorry about that, Doug.
No worries. Just trying to do my job. I'll read it again so everybody can know for sure how much money Jason's taking home. Write it down, everybody. Write it down. Throw it in his face when you get the chance. All right. So with that, we will call the open session for this evening to order. Dinah, will you take the roll, please?
Board Member Barrow.
Present.
Board Member Cluth.
Present.
Board Member Bove LaMonica.
Present.
Vice President Clerk Cole.
Present.
President Gardner.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. If everybody would please rise and join us for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. With that, we will move on to approval for tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Moving on to announcements. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Doug. So first off, we have the I want to give a big shout out to Carol, Trish, and the HBF folks. Huge success at Skechers. They again broke the prior year's record. They're at 1,600 and counting. Usually we don't get that final number until much later, but they definitely met their goal and exceeded last year. And just for context, there's only 1,331 kids in the district, and 1,600 walkers means that there's more walkers than exceeds enrollment, and we're one of the few districts that does that. So major kudos there. Also want to give a shout out to our PTO. The carnival was a huge success. Another one for the record books. I don't even call it a carnival anymore. I call it a theme park. Yeah, it's a theme park. So there's just a lot of work. And so Lisa Gibson and company, this is her last year. We stole her. We hired her as our Spanish teacher. So she mentored the next generation of folks. So kudos to them. And then state of schools, thank you. The city and the community showed up, so we really appreciate that. And the city showed up big. So thank you to our city council members for attending, along with Suja and Chief LeBaron. But it was a good highlight of early childhood education. So major success. Thank you. Pleased to announce that our boys flag football team, they are champions. They beat Paris and, more importantly, Redondo. So great success there, and kudos to Ray Jackson and the coaching team there. And then our holiday party is coming up. It's a big deal, and on the Hermosa staff. So we are already collecting donations. The district office has a little competition who collects the most donations for our raffle giveaway for teachers and staff. It's lots of fun. I make a lot of jokes, mostly all appropriate. And so we encourage our vendors and our folks to donate to our holiday party. Last year, we raised quite a buck or two, and we all give away to teachers and staff. And it's really fun. I think my favorite was watching Gilbert, our custodian, win a bunch of like female perfume products or something. Good gift for his wife. Good gift for his wife. And then last is a friendly reminder to the board that next month is the ugly holiday sweater theme. I believe that we should all again participate. I'll just force my people to. So board, I'll leave that up to you. I think that Quentin had a very nice sweater that Carol picked out last time. So it was really good. So I encourage you all to join us again for another year of holiday festive fun. You'll text her now. Thank you. And that concludes my update.
Okay. Are we gonna do the Ms. Overbeck and Mr. Blodorn?
Sorry. Yes, Ms. Overbeck. Floor is yours.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity to share about the transition of second grade from View to Vista School. I'll start with a brief overview of the numbers that led us to moving View's second grade to Vista. If I can get this slide to move along here. Ms. Dinah, would you click, please? Thank you. Thank you. Last school year, nearly all of the classrooms at View were used as rostered classes, and you can see that the Vista numbers reflected a very different use of classroom space, with only 10 rooms being used for rostered classes. This year, with the expansion of TK and addition of preschool to the View campus, our enrollment numbers for the 2023-2024 school year tipped the scales to move a grade level to Vista. This year, you can see an increase in enrollment in almost every grade, and moving second grade to Vista allows for further growth at View School. We're specifically anticipating growth in the preschool and TK ages in the future. Years ago, third graders were the big kids on campus at View, and since then, the vibe has definitely changed. Here you see pictures of our littlest learners, our preschoolers, in their classroom and walking up to recess, and first graders are now the big ones on campus. With our older students as just 6- and 7-year-olds, View has definitely shifted to an early childhood education center vibe. Vista, on the other hand, has definitely become more lively with the transition. Last year, there were only 2 grade levels at Vista, so it was pretty quiet around campus. But the addition of the second grade has made the campus feel more complete. Since we converted the wellness center to a classroom, the district actually added 1 room where there used to be a lookout. And if you take a look in the top right-hand corner there, you can see a little glass door. That room was created this year to make space for our wellness center again. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can see inside that wellness center where Miss B has her lunch clubs and counseling sessions with kids. And so that is still definitely a well-used space. Like the wellness center, we've shifted how we use different spaces at Vista. The library sessions, of course, still take place at the library. But if you look closely behind that picture of Miss Myers and the 2 students, you can see a row of 3D printers from Mr. Kaplan's Idea Lab class. He now teaches primarily out of the MPR, but the printers are held there for students to use as needed. And our other specials classes use the MPR and teachers' classrooms as their teaching spaces. You can see on the right there that Idea Lab definitely takes advantage of the wide open MPR space. We've settled into this 3-grade model at Vista, and we're using every inch of the campus to continue to provide the quality instruction and enrichment opportunities that make Hermosa, Hermosa. But rather than just give a grown-up's perspective, I've invited a Hermosa 2nd grader to share about his experience so far. So board, I'd like to introduce Mr. Thomas Coe.
Hello, my name is Thomas Isaac Coe. I'm a 2nd grader in Miss Trevino's class at Hermosa Vista. I like Vista because of its beautiful library. It is filled with lots of cool books like Erie Elementary. Vista is also nice because of its playground. It has a lot of stuff. A field, a play structure, tetherball, and Foursquare. My teacher, Miss Trevino, teaches me math. I like it because it's fun. Right now, I am doing board problems using the arrowway and number bond. I enjoy other class lessons like science. Our recent project was candy corn investigation. That's why Vista is a good school. I have so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
And with that, we'll take any questions you may have.
Do you have any questions on this end?
No questions, but thanks. The presentation of how the classrooms were configured from year to year was actually really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On this end? Questions? Go ahead.
No, I would also just curious, are there any things that you, thank you for the presentation, sorry. And thank you for presenting your information, and you look fantastic. So great
Yeah,
job.
that jacket is awesome.
But are there things when you're at Vista or View that you're needing that we can support you on?
Thank you for asking. Continued flexibility in how we use our space as our needs change. I think we're set, but we're always working to use our space and use our schedules to suit students' needs. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me. Great job.
Good evening, board. As you know, we love nothing better than putting our general contractors on the spot. What we do. But when great work is done, we love to recognize it. So I'd like to bring up Jeff Blodorn with Kaya Services LLC. So my man here, Jeff, has done an incredible amount of work over the summer, working with Nancy, Paula, myself, and Jay. Hermosa Valley looks fantastic. And all the crazy knickknack projects you see, including the walkway up View, like for the other entrance, that is done by Jeff and his team. It's a great diversity of projects that we offered you. Just speaking as someone who's been involved in construction for the last 4 years, that's very difficult to do. And having to find all these different contractors and sub vendors in order to complete this work is just an incredible challenge. And you've done a fantastic job. As I'm sure you've learned, Hermosa is very small, but also very aggressive. So we appreciate you matching our energy, and I just really want to say thank you and then offer you the wave of appreciation.
I literally just painted the canvas that Dr. Johnson wanted, or had a vision for what he wanted at the sites, and certainly could not have done that without Paula helping with administering the 4 different contracts or something that we went through with the 20 different projects. And last but not least, certainly could not have done that without boots on the ground with Nancy. She's amazing. And if you guys don't keep her, we're going to take her. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything.
Nancy, Paula, get down here. Come on, Paula. Come on. You get in a minute. All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, with that, we will move on to oral communications from the audience to the board. Members of the audience may address the board on any topic, regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda. However, the board may not discuss issues raised that are not listed on the agenda. Topics not on the agenda that are brought to the board's attention may be investigated by the administration and a report made to the board, either publicly or privately at a future meeting. Comments from visitors should not exceed 3 minutes per individual speaker unless waived by a majority of all members of the board. We have one pink card up here. Ms. Rajab, make your way to the front, please.
Should I start?
Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia. I'm a senior at Miracosta and a proud Hermosa Beach resident. Right now, I am serving as a part of Alcove's Youth Advisory Council. And tonight I'm a representative for them. Speaking of the Youth Advisory Council at Alcove, 10% of Alcove Beach City's Youth Advisory Group is made up of young people from Hermosa Beach. We have conducted tours for Dr. Jason Johnson, amongst many other city members at Alcove. We participated in and hosted the Hermosa Beach City School District Wellness Council event in our co-space and have been delighted to introduce and welcome everyone ages 12 to 25 in Alcove. Our 1-year birthday celebration is right around the corner on November 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. And so I would like to publicly invite everyone from Hermosa Beach and Hermosa Beach City School District to come and support us. This celebration is open to young people ages 12 to 25 along with their families. There will be live music, an art show, jewelry making, other interactive activities, and raffle prizes, as well as free food. Alcove Beach Cities is a valuable resource to the community. We offer completely free services, and the services are available to young people and their families all around, not just Hermosa Beach, but the South Bay. If it's all right, I have some flyers that I'd like to leave that share more about Alcove and what you guys can do to support us. If anyone has any questions, I'd be open to answering them.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and for the work that you do with Alcove. Yeah, if you want to leave the brochures there, we'll collect them at the end.
And then I will be in attendance on Saturday for the 1-year anniversary and looking forward to it on behalf of Hermosa.
That's good to know. Thank you all. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Great job. Thank you for coming. All right. Do we still have our virtual person in the waiting room?
No one is waiting in the waiting room.
Okay, then we're going to close public comment and move on to superintendent update, which I think we already did. Unless you got anything else.
I jumped the gun. I was excited.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I can read your salary again if you'd like. So with that, we will move on to board reports. Quentin, anything? No. Maggie?
No.
All right, Jen?
Yeah, I do. And we had I would call it an incredible wellness council meeting this last week. Just so the public knows, we have 23 members on our wellness council, and these people are so amazing. I mean, just the dedication they have, and also the breadth of knowledge with this crew is, I mean, we are so lucky in our district to have everybody at our just willing to help. And these are mainly parents, but have just really great connections. So one the main thing we did there this time was we reviewed the wellness programs that Hermosa is offering both at Vista, View, and Valley, and asked questions, looked into areas that the ideas that we were wanting to add to the plan for this next year, understanding a little bit about how we publicize the wellness programs to the general public, how much information people, we want to share, how to get information out to people. Talked a little bit about some exploration areas in terms of talking about student body image. That was a big one that has continued to come up both years. And so we're looking into what we could do with something like that. And we actually had one of the parents works with a nutritional program called Jason, South Bay Family Eating Disorder Coalition. And they
Yes.
are willing to come and work with us in some capacity. So we're going to start exploring that, which we all thought was amazing. And they have a budget as well. So that seemed like a really great connection. And then we also discussed one of the other topics was just healthy teen relationships and working through how we can support students at the middle school and kind of, transitioning kids from 5th grade to 6th grade, that kind of thing. Things that happen that we all are seeing and noticing, but how we can support them from all sorts of different ways. And we also have these 2 amazing high school girls, Kennedy Hastley and Madison Young, who are sitting on our committee, and they give the most refreshing perspectives. So we are so lucky to have them as alumni that want to come back and do things in Hermosa and just be a real great resource for students and parents. So I think we all sit on that committee and we walk away with like, okay, all right, we can become better parents and we can really up our game. And then just, they really want the best thing for Hermosa students. So it's a great committee to sit on. So that's what I got. And Jason, I'm not about the equity and inclusion committee. I just was unable to attend.
Yeah, it was a good starter meeting. We walked everyone through the equity and inclusion action plan along with the history of how we got there. And a lot of new folks, some returning folks, and of course, Eva. So it was a great start. And then we'll be coming back together in December to look at the action plan, give some updates, and talk about some of the things that were brought up at the equity and inclusion committee for the first meeting.
Great. Thank you. Kathy? All right, we're going to swing it back to Maggie.
So sorry, Ron, I forgot I have the United Against Hate announcement. So United Against Hate is an LA County initiative. There's LA versus Hate, and then United Against Hate Week, which is November, the week of the 18th. There are the week of the 12th, excuse me. There's several different events that are happening around the South Bay. El Segundo is doing a candlelight vigil next week. There's opportunities for different classrooms to write letters with the senior center. It's an intergenerational connection between elementary students and the seniors. And I believe we have some classrooms here in the Hermosa district that are going to take advantage of that. And then additionally, there has been some other ways to show support for that. Manhattan Beach issued a proclamation. And so I'm going to leave it to Jason to talk through the logistics of that because it wasn't an agendized board piece. But if there is a proclamation that we wanted to make saying that as a school district, we support LA County's work, LA versus Hate, to combat hate, prejudice, and tolerance, we could voice our support along with that. So I can take questions on it. I can also leave it for Jason to send in a board update for discussion or at the end of the session, however you want to take that.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to turn the Senate around in an update.
Yes, and Maggie had asked just even like consideration of having me sign on behalf of Hermosa Beach City School District, so we could return to that in roundtable because it is like a procedural question. But that really just depends if the board is giving that guidance direction to sign on their behalf.
Are we able to see what the proclamation looks like before we have you sign? That'd be great.
Yes, you would.
Good. All right. Moving on. Ms. Gluck is all ready. She's down the stairs. So we're going to do it. Superintendent report and board discussion R-12-2324 state testing results.
Good evening. I'm here to talk to you about our state testing results, which were released from the Department of Education in October. So we're here to share with you the data. This data was taken in May and June of last year. So when we look at our data, we look at some positive trends when working from a micro point of view, being Hermosa Beach, and from a macro point of view, looking at the greater South Bay cities. So we're going to share with you a little differently this year how we are presenting our data. Our science testing, we've had some great increases. And our language, arts, and math cohorts performance, you'll be able to look at those and see what our increase is. And then our sixth grade, we did have a decrease, students moving from fifth to sixth grade. But at Hermosa schools, I want to ensure we've maintained high performance in the South Bay. So when we look at our overall language arts scores, I want us to take a moment to look at how we're presenting the data and the meets and exceeds. We have our pre-COVID data, which was 2019, and now we have 2 years of data. We have 2022 and 2023 that we can look at. We do see a decrease in our performance in language arts from our previous years, and we do show that we are needing to meet and provide some intervention for students in the area of language arts, as 22% of our students are not meeting standards. Cohort data we've been looking at starting this year, and it's interesting to look at because we do see some increases with our 7th grade, where they've increased 8.3%, and that's the peach group that you can look at. And then our 6th grade cohort, which we talked about earlier, we do see a decrease. Overall, we see some positive trends with our cohort data in ELA. And that's if you follow the peach, the blue, and the yellow. And our cohort, just a reminder, is data represented in the same color tracks and the same groups over time. We do not have data from 2020 due to COVID, and in 2021, we did use iReady as a local measure. Subgroup data, we do have some interesting information in our summaries. Our economically disadvantaged subgroups, we did see an increase. Our Hispanic students is where we're seeing the decrease in that we need to look at a little bit closer. And our special education, we see a small decrease of 1.7%. I want to share with you, the next 2 slides are a little bit different. This year, because we did get the data later from the state, we're able to pull our South Bay performance. This first slide here does include our partners to the north-south. And then it also includes the high school data too, because when we do receive the data from the state of California, it shows the whole school district. So you can see based on how Hermosa is performing, we are performing higher than the state of California and higher than Los Angeles County. We are the 3rd highest performing school district in the South Bay, and we're approximately 4.8% behind the top ranked school district. The next slide that I'm going to show you is data that was hand calculated, and it compares 3rd through 8th grade across the same school districts we just looked at, and it pulls out the high school data. So when you look at this data, you can see the breakdown of how we compare to grade levels that are similar to us. We do show that we're the 3rd highest school district performing in the South Bay in English language arts, but we're still approximately 5.8% behind the top ranked school district. Math overall, we've seen some increases in our math scores. You can look at where we were at prior to COVID, where we were at in 2022 and 2023. We are very close in our performance from 2022, but there is an increase. We have approximately 0.9%. We do have approximately 26% of our students not meeting standards where we do need to address with intervention and personalized learning. When you look at the two graphs side by side, 2022 and 2023, you can see the bottom portion of students that are standards not met is approximately the same. Cohort data, when you look at that, our 6th to 7th grade seems to do really well and over the long track as well. Our 4th grade cohort data did have a decrease, and that's our blue section. And then overall, we do see some decreases in our cohort data through the years in all sections pretty much. Subgroups, our subgroups in math, we do see a lot of increases throughout the various subgroups. Our Asian subgroup had the highest increase of 6.9%. English learners, we do see a decrease, and overall positive trends with all of our subgroups in the area of mathematics. We're looking at our South Bay District performance. This does include the high school information if there is a high school involved, and that's in all of our unified school districts. We do show that we're the second performing highest, and then we're about 0.8% when we look at the highest district compared to ours. Now, when we look at the data, when we pull out the high school and we just look at grades 3 through 8, you can see we're about approximately 3.3% behind the highest district, and we're appearing as the 3rd highest. And overall, with this slide, it's approximately higher in all school districts once we pull out the 11th grade in math. Science, I'm excited to talk to you about tonight. We've had the highest increase in science of all time. And you look at where we were at in 2019 and where we're at in 2023, it's about a 7.12 increase. And congratulations to 5th and 8th grade for working really hard. This has been an area that we focused on with the science committee, and we are also looking at new science textbooks. So this is a priority for us as a district. And only 5th and 8th grade do take this test. 5th grade, you can see a slight decrease of our 5th grade students. It's approximately 2.8%. But it's pretty flat when you compare it to 2019. Our 5th grade students, they're working really hard. They're with the Valley campus, so they are also collaborating with our team of science teachers. In 8th grade, a big shout out to Ms. Shin. You can see a 16.4 increase in our science scores. This is the highest of all time. They're working really hard. And I'm really happy that all of our science teachers will be on our science adoption committee because they're invested in making a positive change with the textbook and working hard to do better in this area. Here's the performance of South Bay districts, just to let you know when they're assessed in science across. This includes 5th, 8th, 11th, and 12th grades. So you can see where we stand, where we show as the 2nd highest when looking at all of the school districts, but we're still approximately 5.3% behind. Now, when you look at just the performance of 5th and 8th grade, Hermosa does show now that we're approximately 4th in ranking, and that's about 6.6% behind the top ranked school districts. Just as a reminder, the test when they take it is a cumulative test. So when the 5th graders are taking it, it does test all standards from 1st to 5th, and likewise 8th grade It's cumulative. It's just not isolated for that year. What we're going to do to improve and look at what we're doing. The first thing is the state of California has released science interims now, so that's new. We're going to continue with our English language arts and math interims, but science is new, and we are going to focus on that one with our science team. Foundations is our phonics program, and we're anticipating by using intervention in the class for our TK through second that it will eventually lead up to our other grades because they're going to get that strong phonics skills. We are continuing with our reading specialist. We are working with a reading coach. Grade level collaboration days are really important because we want our teachers to look at the data that we're presenting today to see where we're at and so how they can make a plan to work better. And focus talks and personalized learning are the biggest focus that we need to continue with so we can work on the areas that need improvement on. But overall, Hermosa is doing great compared to the South Bay. And I think that's important when we look at the data, because usually we look at our data in isolation, and today's presentation shows it with the South Bay as well. Any questions?
Sure. Any questions? I'll start on this end, Kathy. Jen?
Thank you for that. That was really great to see all that in that order and how you pulled out the high school and stuff. That was very helpful. I did have two questions, or they're two kind of long-winded questions. The one is there something that we could benefit from by just taking a look at what PB and Manhattan Beach are doing? If you pulled out, that you look at their, it's just a question to ask those districts, I guess, like what are they doing if they're getting 5% higher? Like, just out of curiosity, if they run a different program, or are they doing any sort of different intervention, or just it's a small percentage, but it is something. Maybe they're doing something interesting. Might be worth us looking there for both the science, math, and language arts.
I belong to a group of job alikes, and I can ask that question when I work with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll glean anything new. And then my other question was in iReady, because I know these scores aren't apples to apples, the iReady and the CAST source, but in iReady, are we able to look at, I think iReady has like a big conference potentially.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Right. And so I think in there, I'm wondering, since iReady has such breadth across the country, do they have example schools that have actually moved kids from lower bands to higher band, like how they, what schools are doing it? And if we can check into those schools too, because iReady should have a list of schools that they're like, yeah, you should check out these 3 schools because they're making these amazing gains. And I might guess, yeah, sure. I just think that might give us some more information on like maybe different programmings that, because my concern is always like, okay, how do we get, if let's say we have, 73% of our kids are doing great. Well, we still have, kids that aren't meeting and aren't exceeding. So what do we do about those kids? And when I asked Jason about that earlier, I thought the information just on how we're going to really track students differently this year, and then going through like the 6 to 8 week progress reports and really having more kind of alignment with teachers on that was I think something new that maybe we're going to see that with grades and iReady scores, and that conversation is going to happen a lot more. Is that
the other thing?
I get that right?
The principals have scheduled professional development with iReady, where they do go over the iReady scores and where their students stand as a class and what to target and how to work on personalized learning to specifically target individual kids or to help group kids when they're working in language arts or math.
Yeah, I just think these conversations, once you start having them and they start rolling, they're like, you're right. I mean, we're doing a great job. Really great job. But there are kids that we can't leave behind in kinder, first and second grade, because if we catch them there, we're going to have, all this great growth that happens. But I think it's a great job. I just am excited to hear about like what else we could keep doing. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Jen. Patty?
Yeah, I do. Thank you so much for that presentation. I really appreciate the pull out specifically of looking at the grade levels just by our local districts. So thanks for going back in and pulling that data.
No problem.
Yeah.
I have a question about, thanks, I'll echo that. Okay. First of all, But I have a question about like measurement error or accuracy. You know, sometimes you'll see political polling where they're saying, hey, candidate X is 2% above, but the margin of error is 3 or 4 points. And so really they're statistically tied. I'm trying to understand, like in this survey, in this kind of methodology, what's the level of confidence? Because we're reporting to like 2 decimal places here, but my guess is 81.05 doesn't really mean something like somewhere between 79 and 83. Do you have any sense? Do you get any of the reporting come back and give you some sense of accuracy or 95% confidence intervals or anything like that?
I'll take that one. As far as the scores themselves, the scores, are what they bear. So if the student got it right or wrong or something in between, so that's accurate. I do think a difference is in population. So, I mean, like Hermosa, in reference to all these districts that are named, is significantly smaller. So what could be more of a broader average from a district or students that perform higher or lower moves the needle less. For us, I mean, like we can see more dramatic movement in our scores based upon the student cohorts because there's just less students involved. So in some cases, you mean like when we say, 22% of students, are performing below the standard, that could actually mean 22 students. So I just think that like as far as, I wouldn't call it an error, but I would say that the needle can move a lot wider. And you see that as you zoom in more on grade levels where, in comparison, like Redondo is taking scores off of 8 elementary schools and 2 middle schools. The middle schools average about 1,400 students, somewhere between 1,200 and 1,400 students. And that is the size of our district. So one of their schools equivocates. So I just think that you can see a lot higher, lower jumps.
Can I try to translate that to make sure I understood it? Because I think another way to say that would be, if you're dealing with a much larger sample size, your confidence interval, your confidence is much higher. So like 80% at standard or at or above standard at Manhattan Beach might mean it's probably somewhere between 78. It's 80% plus or minus 2. Whereas for us, 80% at standard might be plus or minus 4 or plus or minus 5. I guess I'm just curious whether when you talk to your testing friends, whether or not they have any, it's a pretty standard statistical kind of measure to say, how confident are we that this measurement tool is right? What's our confidence interval?
I think what you're asking is the tool itself measuring student mastery accurately? You mean like in terms of like, does it actually capture that student's ability? You mean like with a plus or minus percentage?
Well, that's maybe one part of it, but another part of it is like you can have just any kind of measurement tool is going to have accuracy in it, right? And there could be a lot of reasons where on any given day, one measurement isn't accurate. The mix of kids that showed up and took the test was off. The number of kids who had an illness that day was off. The temperature in the classroom wasn't right. So there could be a lot of reasons why you might not get a perfect read. And there's no such thing really as a perfect read. There would just be more reads that would converge on an answer and give you more confidence. And that's just the nature of statistics. So I'm just curious whether or not when you get any of this data back, they provide you any of that kind of sense of confidence level.
We will look into that and follow up. They definitely don't report confidence intervals on the dashboard. And then what we do report is participation rate, which I believe we're well over 96%, because CAS does acknowledge that those, you have to hit a certain threshold, otherwise your scores are invalidated. And yes, I do agree with you about the accuracy. It's a deeply talked about question about the accuracy and reflection of CASP as an accurate measure for mastery, period. For example, we internally had a discussion about what is the appropriate time to take CASP. We took CASP at the end of the year, in late May, early June. And there were some on our team that believed that though that allowed more time for instruction, that was actually the wrong time to test. And we should have probably tested more in early May or even April, which there's no right way. The window opens in April. So like the state really leaves it up to districts to decide when is the best time to collect the most accurate data. So this year we do actually plan, we've already moved our testing schedule forward to see if that will change or affect our results.
You did pretty good with that window though. I mean, the window that we had. Sorry, can I ask another question?
No. No, of course.
What I learned the other day about CAS, which I didn't know, and this is just, I just want to make sure you all know this, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the test that was years ago, it really mattered if you moved students' bands from like, if they were average to above, you know, or basic to above basic. Yes, but it was called something. It's like, but if you're basic and you moved kids up, that you got a bigger bang for your, like your percentages increased, let's say, more. Nowadays, the kids that are at the far below basic or the lowest band, you actually get a higher percentage if you move those kids up. Is that true?
I'm not entirely sure. You mean like for our intents and purposes, we really just focus on making sure that our students are meeting standards. Like that's our goal. There are all sorts of ways to game the exam, or to, you know, they have what they call the near 3 kid, and districts used to use a strategy, or some still do, where you focus entirely on moving your 2s to 3s, because that is going to give you the highest, you know, I mean, like district overall score jump. But truthfully, I mean, like, while we're interested in performing well, our focus is entirely on identifying those students and having 3 measures. You mean like at each trimester to triangulate data to communicate to our teachers how to adjust their instruction. I do believe if that's our focus, that will produce a higher score overall and lead to better instruction.
My point is just like the testing strategies are different now with the CAS than they were like 10 years ago.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Next one, R-13-2324, facilities update. Dr. Johnson.
Gonna be up here a while. Hi, everybody. This is facilities update 5. We started this journey back in, I don't know, probably a little over a year ago. And the district came into additional dollars with state matching funds for a grant that we wrote off of Measure S. And we immediately put that money to work. And we've been busy spending it and making our schools better. As we all know, the key priorities of Measure S have been met. And then, as I mentioned, we were able to secure 3.75 matching dollars from state matching funds off of Measure S. And to date, Hermosa View and Hermosa Valley summer projects are complete. I put Hermosa Valley asterisks there because while the summer projects that we did at Hermosa Valley are complete, all of our work at Hermosa Valley is not. There is still much to do to improve and make our Hermosa Valley facilities equivalent with the beautiful facilities at Hermosa View and Hermosa Vista. There we go. A little bit of a delay here. There we go. Okay, so there's a long laundry list of the projects that were completed at Hermosa View, mostly making sure that the existing buildings that were not reconstructed were given a interior remodel, as we had done the exterior work already. So there you see the list of the work done, and there is those new fresh bathrooms. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. They desperately needed a remodel, and they are looking great. Here you see our remodeled classrooms, all the way from the ceiling tiles to new carpet and floors. And there's a pull-out shot. And that nice new carpet smell. All right, here is the work that we were talking about earlier with Jeff, our pedestrian pathway. These are the Dutch doors in order to help our youngest learners who might elope to ensure that they're safe and in the classrooms. And there you see the secret garden project is almost complete. There's the new flooring there, and we are expecting the delivery of that equipment actually this month. So probably for installation in December.
Can you elaborate on Secret Garden for those who might not understand it?
Yeah, sorry. The secret garden is a sensory space for students that either need to cool down or actually need to get out their energy, rev it up. But it's a self-contained space that has covers on the outside. It's very calming. There's a tree that's in there. And then it has playground equipment, including a lot of sensory equipment or areas where a student can hide. There's like this cool log thing that's going to be there. So it's something that we've talked about for a while, but we just want to make sure that when a student is either escalated or needs a break, that the space that they're going to is a calming, fun space to be in and safe. Here's the front. Kudos to the city of Hermosa. We partnered together in order to redo that front area. It's no longer dirt mounds, brand new irrigation. Look at those beautiful flowers next to that marquee. Thank you, HVPTO. Moving over to Hermosa Valley, our bathrooms got a nice update in there. That spackle on the floor makes it look clean all day long. And there you see a laundry list of other works and projects to be completed at Hermosa Valley. A lot of work happened at Hermosa Valley, and looking forward to more to come. Here you see the new carpet in the classrooms, new painting on the ceiling and on the walls there. Very, very bright. Love the color scheme. Teachers, nice and happy. Like the paint, like the floor. There you see even in the main hallway there, new flooring, new paint, makes the space really bright. And then there's the little caves there. I like those things. We even put carpet down in there too. Look at outside. No more of those random stone pillars. They are gone. And if you didn't know that they were there, you would never know. Then here's outside the wellness center. That used to just be a dirt area that collected a lot of mud and water. We redid the drainage, redid the plumbing, a forever project there, and put out some nice furniture. And it's really fun if you haven't had the opportunity to see kids lounging out there and relaxing. Moving into, this is the 5th grade lounge. This is where their student leadership holds meetings and 5th grade uses as a common space. We invested in some more alcove-esque type furniture like the wellness center, and then redid the carpet in there as well too, new paint on the walls. Moving over, this is on the right there, that's our SDC room where in our special day classroom for our students with more severe needs. We connected the bathroom to the classroom based off of one of their asks was, so like, could we have like a direct access? And then we actually closed off that exterior bathroom, though the door still exists. So now that is a bathroom that is solely for that class, which helps that staff and those students with instructional time. And there on the left, you see a construction we made an official storage space for the NPR. Looks nice. It's hard to describe it if you're just looking at a picture, but it was something that was really needed. Moving into, here's our one of our science rooms, new floor in there. There you see even in the kitchen, nice spackle floor. Look how cool and nice that kitchen looks. All right, and then this is the library. So in the library, we got new furniture. Ms. Bledsoe worked with student leadership in order to select some student-centered furniture where it's more of a lounge space where students can collaborate and have a safe space to hang, read, and learn. And then we did some painting and touch-up in there as well too. Then finally, just going along with, safety, that's us. We did an overhaul of frosting window glasses and making sure that classrooms don't have transparent windows. But we like to do it with style. So we created these window covers that are on the doors where you can see out, but it's opaque to see in. Look how cool that logo is.
They look great. Who created those? They look great.
I think that's an Eileen Levin design. Yeah. Like that logo. Board approved. All right. And then finally, the granddaddy of them all, the Hermosa Valley Gym mural. This was a collective effort with HVPTO, ASB, and the Board of Education contributing to make this beautiful art mural project happen. Look forward to continuing to complete the other two panels this coming summer, which is more minor work. Here's our total cost at each of the sites. Breakdown of Hermosa View. Breakdown of Hermosa Vista. And of course, the breakdown of Hermosa Valley cost. Long and the short of it is kudos to Paula and the team, Nancy, for being very much on top of all the various costs and contractors that we use. And also we received these monies in like May, and we have spent, I think now we're at like 90% of them, spent about 90% of them. And here we're sitting in November. So my hat is off to Nancy and Paula, and thank you to the Hermosa Beach community. If we secure dollars, whether through Measure S or through state matching grants, we're not going to sit on them. We're going to spend them and get them in the classrooms for kids. Thank you. At this point, I'll take questions.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Down this end, Quinn. Maggie.
I do. Thank you so much, Jason, for walking us through all this. And thank you, Nancy, for all your work. I think one of my questions is off of the, this is just something to keep in mind when we go through and do our surveys at the end of the year. Consistently, the district gets dinged on bathrooms and some of the other common spaces. And so I'm just going to be curious, given the attention that's been given to freshen up the appearances, how that translates to, oh, I'm getting yelled at to Mike, how that translates to student outcomes and perceptions of the campus. So I am really curious, like bathrooms have consistently for over 5 years, that's like the area we always get dinged on. And so I think they look great. I'm glad that we're going to be able to have a higher level of cleanliness, or at least masking the dirtiness, and to see how that translates to our evaluations.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And then we're not taking our foot off the gas too, because like the maintenance and operations crew, including Jay at the helm, have really tried some different strategies about when and how we clean as well too. So our hope is those collective efforts, will show gains. I have heard feedback from Superintendent Advisory Council about the floors. And one of the reasons we ended up going with the spackle floors was actually based off of student feedback that the tile itself just appears dirty because of its color. And then the other thing was that one of the reasons we replaced all of the faucets and toilets was because the plumbing was shooting back up water. That shot of water goes on the floor, kids come in and the floors look dirty. So I really do feel that feedback, and we take that feedback really seriously. That feedback from student advisory and from the MPS survey very much informed the architecture of how we approach the bathrooms.
Thank you. Jen?
Maybe there's a way to have some sort of homeroom. I'm getting into the weeds on this, but reminding people how great the school looks now, and isn't the school look so great? And if you have other feedback for us, like let us know. Just kind of so we can kind of seed how great it looks to our constituents, because we actually are listening to them. But sometimes people need to be reminded, people being students, how. What's your favorite new thing at the school this year? I think doesn't hurt, because then it reminds them like we have to keep, this place clean, and it takes all of us. And that
I
kind of
meet
thing.
with student leadership at Valley twice a month, and I just listen. But I will bring up to them if they could give and take feedback about the upgrades to facilities.
That'd be great.
I think that's a good idea, and I think it's a good point to remind students, like, and ask, like, hey, how's it working out? We made these changes. What do you think?
Yeah, because I mean, it looks amazing, and compared to when we've all started touring things years ago, and I'm sure Kathy, you see lots of great changes. But I really just want to applaud Nancy and Paula and Jason for all your hard work on getting this money spent. And I know, as someone who's in construction projects a lot, that is a hard job, and it looks fantastic there. So super proud of you guys and proud of being a part of that.
Yeah, kudos to the team. We like to go.
And just to piggyback on that, with your advisory council, to let them know that their opinions and their needs were listened to and actually came to fruition. So yeah, Valley's been much needed, all those improvements. So I mean, telling the kids that they were responsible for it, I think that will make them have ownership of it.
Yeah, that's great feedback, and we will definitely take that back to students, because like a big part of what we seek is to make sure that our students don't just feel empowered, that they really are empowered.
Awesome. Yeah. Great job. Thank you, everybody. All right. You're staying up there. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah,
R-14-2324, the Equity and Inclusion Report. Ooh, that was kind of cool. Whoa.
Infinite Jason. I like it. All right. Equity and inclusion update number 1. First of the year. Thank you, board, for approving the Equity and Inclusion Action Plan in July. And here we go. So this is the first update for our 10 objectives. In prior years, it was 12 objectives. Last year, we narrowed it to 10 objectives, some of which were items that were fulfilled and pushed forward, and some of items that were combined in. As far as general summary, most all objectives are on target. Objective 6 is under revision due to scheduling conflict with Dr. Orange. And then, as always, we're very proud of our equity dashboard. For those that have tuned in to look at it, prior year's data is up, and it will be fully complete by December, because that's when all of our trimester data rolls in. There you see the Equity and Inclusion Action Plan. Those are the guiding principles from red to blue. Community leadership is where it starts. We are a data-driven approach. The reason we do the things that we do is because there's data that backs up that we should do it. And then the actions that we take are in the name of achievement and wellness for all. In the area of community, the Equity and Inclusion Committee actually just met. That is the makeup of the committee, from parents all the way to a board member. The first meeting is a general review about norms, the history of it, and then we do an action plan review and take generalized feedback to begin. Objective 2 is the reading benchmark. Our district has doubled down on reading as a priority, and most importantly, understanding the progression of our readers. There you see a timeline of where we are at. We are past FMP, and we've moved into level literacy intervention groups. As Jen Cole brought up, we are tracking each of our level literacy intervention groups, including the letter performance of those students. And then we will be asking for progress from our teachers in order to reassess, like whether some students still require Tier 2 intervention, or some students should be moved in or out. There you see the trimester 1 reading benchmark. And what we always do is we're trying to triangulate or compare data, because that offers up great questions for our staff. When teachers get in their grade level planning meetings, the goal is, how does this data help us adjust or amend or focus our instruction to support the needs of the learners in the classroom? There you see a summary of data, and there are some cases, right, where there's a large difference between the performance on FMP and the performance on iReady. And so that generates conversations in our grade level planning meetings with our teachers in order to look student by student, at what can be done to ensure that all the students that are in the classroom are receiving appropriate interventions or support. The Wellness and Inclusion Survey, poll surveys are just about to roll out. We take the Panorama survey in February. It is one of 3 climate measures that are applied at each of the trimesters, including California Healthy Kids Survey and the Net Promoter Score. Objective 4, achievement growth goals. We are still striving for our 3 to 5% reduction of students below standard and increase of students meeting or exceeding standard. There you see our assessment window timeline. And what's approaching now is our middle school benchmarks. Objective 5, our award-winning equity dashboard. Sylvia has done a great job. She has some ideas of how to continue to simplify and synthesize. The biggest piece of feedback that we've gotten from the Equity and Inclusion Committee about the dashboard is continuing to go simple, 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 more and more readable. I was actually just on the California dashboard today, looking at scores and banging my fist on the table saying, oh my God, this is unreadable. And I am a superintendent of schools. So our goal is to not be that and to make it so any person could look at the dashboard and be like, oh, that's how they're doing. Objective 6, professional development. This is an area where we have had a setback. The great Dr. Orange has had a scheduling conflict, and she is not going to be working with us this year, but does plan to return in 24-25. So therefore, we're making a pivot. We've been working with Ms. Gluck, the principals, and our culturally responsive practice specialists, Jen and Heather, to recalibrate. And then we're leaning in also on our inclusion professional development. And we had been working with To Teach last year going into this year. So we'll probably continue to utilize that time for that professional development. And then we're also looking at our plan this year. We're going to be aligning speakers and museum tours to have like an in-person experience with a pivotal speaker for a theme or a culture, and then aligning that with a museum tour, much like we did with Nat Rocker, a Holocaust survivor, and the Museum of Tolerance last year. We're going to be expanding that out.
Sorry, is that speaker for the teachers or for the students?
Students.
Got it.
Teachers attend to them. Objective 7, our responsive campus and community. There you see our calendar of events that have taken place at View Vista Valley and district-wide. We are looking forward to doing our e-bike safety initiative with our yard signs in collaboration with the city. That is an early look at the yard sign that you too can have in your yard, especially if you think that people are riding bikes too fast. Our campaign is going to be about riding slow. We understand that e-bikes are a conundrum, but the real conundrum I actually heard this from a resident, and I thought it was really true. The real conundrum is not the bikes run on electric power. The conundrum is that they ride the bikes too fast. That is really what we're talking about. So we're going to be collaborating with the city, and we're gonna take this campaign to the streets.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Gotta roll with it.
We're gonna.
Oh, look at that! Oh,
Keep it coming. Keep it coming. All right. Objective 8. You know I'm a sucker for that stuff. So. This is the trauma support area. Appreciate the board and the Equity and Inclusion Committee allowing us to pivot in this area because Jen, who's sat on the committee for a while, this came up among staff and our students and counseling population about while recognizing being culturally responsive, we are in very uncertain times, and continuing to work toward acknowledge that our students suffer a lot of trauma just by the nature of what's happening in our nation in regards to the safety of schools. So that includes our work in fentanyl. We just recently had a Naxalone training. And then our vigilance training for all staff just occurred here in November. QPR, or question, persuade, refer training is taking place for our counselors for suicide intervention. And then we also will be presenting to the board our MOU for Blue Line Dogs. We'll be bringing, we're taking the puppy party to the next level, and we're going to have routine therapy dogs on campus on a regular basis, because part of the feedback has been that we're bringing therapy dogs on campus when there is a trauma-informed event, but then the animals themselves become associated with trauma itself. So having a more routine presence of therapy dogs on campus. Objective 9, multi-tiered system of support. This is a very exciting area that I do feel like everyone, all the staff have worked very hard on. There you see a lot of work that's been done in behavior, SST teams, and then we've always talked about we've talked about already the grade level planning with analysis. Our goal is, by collecting this information about students that are participating in tier 2 intervention or level literacy intervention, that we can begin not to just have an established pyramid of tier 1 through 3 intervention, but we're also tracking participation in that pyramid as well too, and having an understanding of how many students participate in tier 3 and tier 2 intervention, and seeing if it actually really is a pyramid. This is just another step. We took the holistic student data, and began to understand, by 3 measures, like how our students were performing. And now we're narrowing in with those measures on the next step, which is how those students are receiving an intervention. Finally, objective 10, personalized learning. As I always say, like, this is, personalized learning is not a program. It's an instructional theme. It's a culture. There you see a list of areas where we've been working on building a culture of personalized learning on our campus. And one of the things that is coming that we're excited about is what we call participation mapping, which will be providing a school-wide survey to all 3rd through 8th graders, trying to understand their level of participation in in-school and out-of-school extracurricular activities, and trying to map out to make sure that all students have something that they're participating in. Research shows that if students are involved in extracurricular activities, contributes to school climate, social emotional health, as well as academic achievement. Oh, I just want to mention real fast too that instructional rounds, which Valley took the lead in piloting last year. And so Jessica, or Ms. Bledsoe, is having their staff meeting in November to do the official launch of instructional rounds. And then Ms. Overbeck, I believe, is having her meeting in December. All of us did a book study leading with instructional rounds on the leadership team. And we're looking forward to launching that, where teachers will be observing teachers to understand best practices with a focus on inclusive practices, small group instruction, and station-based teaching. Thank you, board. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Down on this end, we'll start this time. Quinn, Maggie, Jen, Kathy. All right. Great presentation. Great job. Ready to keep pushing this one forward.
Let's do it.
Much appreciated. All right.
That clock is wrong as well too. It's 7.
I know the city's got to be like.
Yeah. Let's do this.
All right. Last one, R-15-2324, the Beach Cities Partnership Programs.
First off, I just want to thank Beach Cities Health District and board member Jane Deal and Emery Chen coming down and acknowledging our partnership. And this is a follow-up from the board from last meeting, just to name the details of that partnership.
Yeah, it was great to see them at the State of the Schools as well.
Yes,
that was really good that they came out to that as well.
Like that, yeah, they showed up, and that was it was very good to see them. Beach Cities Health District is an incredible partnership. Their goal is for their work with education is to ensure that wellness is at the forefront. And it's not just something they say, they mean it.
Yep.
And there you see like what that partnership focuses on, the various areas of health and safety. And there's something that I'm very proud of, because like I've experienced Beach Cities Health District partnership as a teacher in Redondo, all the way from the administrator, principal, and now a superintendent in Hermosa. I'm very proud of that with Beach Cities Health District. We've accomplished a lot of firsts with them. And my joke with Tom and company is like, we'll be the guinea pig. We love being the guinea pig. Get us there. So I think that's an exciting part of our partnership with Beach Cities Health District. Bless you.
Bless you.
So in the area of partnership, there you see how Beach Cities Health District approaches their partnership with schools, that those are their focuses in the areas that they provide services to schools. In the area of physical and brain health, their big push is the Live Well Garden and Nutrition Program. We've expanded the garden and nutrition program up to Vista and Valley now. This is actually really cool because this was over the summer at View. Those are two Miracosta students, former Hermosa students that really were just volunteering their time. I mean, like to come and volunteer for Beach Cities in our garden. I mean, like to me, like that is just like one of many examples of beautiful things that Beach Cities Health District provides as opportunities. Next, in the area of mental health, there's a lot here. This is actually a photo taken of our visit. The entire 7th grade class visited Alcove Youth Wellness Center. That was the first, and we walked. Thanks, Jen. Alcove Youth Center is just, there's only 2 in the state of California, and the fact that we have access to it is outstanding. There you also see all the various areas that Beach Cities Health District serves mental health, including things such as supporting our efforts towards a licensed medical family therapist, as well as our student wellness center. In the area of public health and safety, they've really are taking a lead in the e-bike program and been working with the Cycling Coalition, and one of ways of just securing funding for our e-bike safety program. And then, of course, everyone knows the walk and roll to school day. That's all of us bright and early on the green belt. In the area of substance abuse, another Beach Cities Health District has taken the lead in the battle against fentanyl. One of the reasons that this superintendent here has really had my mind moved about how serious of an issue this is was because of a professional development that was provided in a Beach Cities Health District meeting where a speaker came from the Department of Health and spoke about the crisis. And I remember calling Sylvia on the way after saying, we got to do something now. And that amounted to another collaboration with providing a student assembly for a fentanyl forum panel where youth, as well as drug counselors and Chief of Police Paula Barron provided a fentanyl. We showed a video and then provided a fentanyl awareness form that was so great to get the word out to students, because they are going to have to make life and death decisions because fentanyl is so pervasive and so dangerous. That is a list of things, but the partnership with Beach Cities Health District could go on and on and on. They are true partners. I am just so grateful that our schools have this resource. It's incredible. And at this time, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. We'll start on this end. Kathy, Jen?
I just had a quick question. Yeah, they're amazing partners. I totally agree. I've been a part of their volunteer things for years. I did have a question just about their garden or the programs that they used to have more. I felt like there might have been some more in classroom programs where parents were docents for things, and are parents still docents for like the garden and those kinds of programs? Yes, we have parent docents for the garden and nutrition program in class. Yeah, that was my question. It's just garden and nutrition. Right. There was a third one, I feel like, for a while. I believe you're referring to Mind Up, which is a program that is not offered within our district. And then we moved in a different direction with Second Step and some of the council points, which you actually were learning about in the Wellness Council this week. Right. So it's those two in classroom, so parents can be involved at becoming garden docents or nutrition docents. Sylvia?
Garden and nutrition are one now together.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And then the other thing to mention, Jason, is I'm pretty sure that anyone in the public can get trained or it's a very simple training on the, is it naloxone?
How do you say it still?
Naloxone.
Naloxone.
Yes, anyone can be trained, and they've been offering public trainings. Just recently, they did one at a church.
Right.
I want to say it was St. James.
It was down near Manhattan Beach, I think, too.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to potentially have in your medicine cabinet. You cannot overdose using it.
Yes.
It's a great thing to have in your neighbor, as the neighborhood, to know that you have that at your home. So you can easily be a source of help.
And we provided a training to our staff members, and it is stocked at each of the sites.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. Quinn. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Board.
All right. Now we move on to consent. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent is approved. So we will move to board action. We'll start with B-72-2324 on the letter of engagement with Ede Bailey, project number 57/64600-00-009.
Thank you, Doug. The approval is recommended for the letter of engagement with Ide Bailey. This is in regards to the state matching dollars that we just spent this summer. It's a compliance piece that the auditors have to provide an audit for the state of California.
All right. Thank you, Paula. Are there any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Move on to business B-73-2324 on the contract with Kaya Services for additional work increment 4.
Recommended ratification is recommended for contract with Kaya Services for increment 4 for projects completed at all 3 sites.
Thank you, Paula. Are there any questions?
Not a question, but a correction off of the addition. It looks like there might be an error in one of the pages there on page 73. I think it was 73.
I think that we should take time to review that, because after looking at that, that may be a resolution for a financial procedure,
Got
that
it.
we're still operating off of.
Okay,
So we will come back to the board if there's an error that needs correction.
great. No questions.
All right. Are we still moving forward then?
Yes, the ratification is still recommended.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion is approved. Next, we'll move on to business B-74-2324, the service agreement with Cintas AED.
Approval is recommended for the service agreement with Cintas for AED units at Hermosa Vista and Hermosa View. Currently, Hermosa Valley already has one in place. We will be using our ASKIP partner to pay for this with our safety credits.
Sounds good. Thank you. Are there any questions on this one? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move on to business B-75-2324 on the purchase of outdoor cable installation for Wi-Fi access points. Aaron.
Thank you, Doug. It's recommended that the board approves cable management services provided by the CDWG for the outdoor Wi-Fi project. The paths that are there are limited, and we need to create more paths for the outdoor Wi-Fi antennas at all the campuses.
Sounds good. Are there any questions on this one?
I have a question, Aaron. Is it
course.
for accessibility of Wi-Fi for computers, or is it for security reasons that we need additional Wi-Fi? What's the net for?
It's for desktops and any outdoor Wi-Fi devices such as phones, tablets, cameras, you name it. It'll extend the classroom out into our open spaces.
Any other questions? All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next one, B-76-2324, the purchase of math curriculum.
Currently, Hermosa Beach Middle School students have digital textbooks. Teachers are recommending that a physical textbook be in the classroom for all students during instruction. So approval is recommended for the purchase of additional textbooks from Cengage for grades 6 through 8.
All right. Are there any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maggie. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next one, B dash 77-2324 on a consultant agreement for the volleyball clinic.
Hi,
Bless you.
approval is recommended or ratification is recommended for the contract with Kashi Wolmer. She has provided a volleyball clinic for all our students at Hermosa Valley. Done a great job.
Thank you, Paula. Are there any questions, comments on this one?
Just compliments. Thank you to Kashi for doing it. And thank you for Dr. Johnson for supporting it.
Second that. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second? Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, last business one, B-78-2324, the memorandum of agreement for the therapy dogs, the best one.
As mentioned earlier, approval is recommended for the memorandum of understanding with Blue Line Therapy Dogs. Looking forward to it at no cost, and excited to start working with a new partner. Recommended.
Thank you, Jason. Is there any questions?
Love the idea.
What was that? Sorry.
I love the idea.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. For sure. All right, is there a motion?
So moved. Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
All right, I'll give Kathy the motion, Jen the second.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, bring on the dogs. It's terrific.
So cool.
Bring on.
All right, here we go. We're going to read it again for real this time. As we get to P-15-2324, the amendment to the superintendent employment contract. The approval is recommended for the amendment to the contract with Dr. Jason Johnson effective July 1, 2023. So this item on the agenda is approval for a proposed second amendment to the existing employment contract of the superintendent. The existing employment contract, as previously amended on May 10th, 2023, has a term from July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2026. The proposed amendment would amend the term of the contract to be July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2027, and would add an additional step 7 to the superintendent's salary schedule, providing for a 3.5% salary increase in 26-27, with no change to the superintendent's salary for the other years, such that the superintendent's salary for each of these years shall be as follows. 2023 to 2024, which is step 4, 214,431. 2024 to 2025, which is step 5, 221,936. 2025 to 2026, which is step 6, 229,704. And 2026 to 2027, which is step 7, 237,744. All other terms and conditions as stated in the existing employment contract, including provision for health and welfare benefits, would remain in effect without change. Are there any questions on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Maggie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. We rolled those board action items and we're on to board member roundtable. Start at this end. Kathy.
I don't have anything.
Fair. Jen.
Nope. Good.
All right. Maggie.
Wanted to revisit the proclamation proposal for the United Against Hate week and talk about process for the board. Jason, do you want me to lead at that or do you want me to pull the board members?
My recommendation to the board, if I may, Maggie, and Maggie and I did have a chance to discuss, would be for me to provide the proclamation in a board update and then to follow up with individual board members. And then based off of following up, either I will sign the proclamation on behalf of the district or we will bring as an item before the board in December.
The only thing I would push back on is that it's this month proclamation. They didn't have school board meeting timelines in mind when they put out their proclamation.
I just don't think that board members are going to give me direction. It doesn't seem like that they're going to give me direction to sign off on the district's behalf without having seen the proclamation.
No, I understand that. I'm just wondering if we could put some urgency on behalf of my colleagues up here that when you get the district update on the board update on Friday, that you could respond back with some.
There will not be a board update on Friday because I will be on vacation.
Oh, it's your birthday. That's right.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday.
Maybe Jason, you could just forward it to us tomorrow. Would that be, is it already written?
It's already forwarded. In our inboxes tonight.
If I have it tonight,
Okay, never mind. We'll take a look.
I passed along the Manhattan Beach one for folks to get a sense of the language.
so it's in my email.
Yes,
Right.
the proclamation.
So I will forward to the board before I leave tonight.
Okay. Is everybody good with that? Good. All right.
The next step, Maggie, after you forward it to us, we look it over and then what?
So I think it's two questions. It would be replicating what Manhattan Beach did, which is supporting LA County's statement against hate. And then if the board is okay with the words in the proclamation, letting Jason know that, and he can speak on behalf of the district that the school district also supports LA County's efforts against hate.
Okay, fair.
All right. Anything else? Good. Right. Quinn.
I just want to know what the last estimate was for our ending time and who. No, I don't have any items for the roundtable. Sorry.
All right. No problem. All right. Well, now my diatribe will begin.
It was me, but Doug's gonna make a loser out of me now, and it's advantage Aaron.
No, I'm not going to do that. I was just gonna say I know we're going to do kind of like the song and dance show at the next meeting, but this is my last full meeting as the president. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank everybody, my colleagues up here for a fantastic year. The administration who is here and watching or not watching at home. As we said last week at the State of the Schools is terrific, fantastic, amazing, great. Pick the adjective that you want to use. And that's a result of everybody in this room, everybody at home, the community, parents, students, everyone. So it's been an honor to serve a second go around as the president here. And just thank you for everybody for everything that you do and put into this district. That's what makes it what it is. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Maya. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
That's 7:33. That makes me the winner again.
So do we all need to sign this?